The second thing that I think is really interesting from the standpoint of how this goes is what you should be doing. And again, I'll give you the same analogy as I wrap up here that I give my members. In the market we saw 3 years ago, any idiot could be a successful investor. You know, it didn't take much. It was almost as easy as getting a loan, but not as easy as getting a refi. In today's marketplace, the reality is good investors are going to make a difference because there are starting to be opportunities out there. Those opportunities are going to be very risky. I guess what I'm saying to all of you is, as you enter this marketplace, look at the opportunities. Your investments today are better investments than the investments you made 2, 3, 4, and 5 years ago. But don't assume that the pattern of an immediate explosive growth in prices is the pattern that we're going to see. Rather, assume that the property actually makes economic sense. And in some instances, we're there, but in most instances, we're not. And on that note, all I can say is it's going to be a very challenging year, but it's also one where professionals will be extremely successful. Thank you very much.
Joel, thank you for your comments. Yeah, we do disagree with that affordability number, but I don't know if we're going to get to it tonight or not. Tommy Williams is our next speaker. He's president of the National Auctioneers Association and co-founder of Williams & Williams Auction Company, who just successfully auctioned off a couple of my properties back east. Tommy has has over 40 years experience as a real estate auctioneer, a land developer, and a real estate investment. He currently serves again as president of the Auction Association. He has been involved in over 10,000 auctions in all 48 states, contiguous to the contiguous states, and in Canada. Mr. Williams.
Good evening. Certainly a privilege and a pleasure to have a chance to visit with you. We've been talking about solutions, and I'm going to give you this is a solution that I'm 67. So that kind of gives you, I started in this business literally when I was 16 years old, and I've been in the auction business my entire life. So what I'm bringing to you is something that I have thought very passionately about for all of those 50-some years that I've actually been involved in the auction business. And that is that if you live in America, you probably believe that we do base our economy, and the gentleman that spoke, Chris, I have to agree with you 100%. He's saying that reality always is what we deal with. Reality of the marketplace is exactly what it is. One of the most amazing things to me is that the entire world sets their markets by an auction. I hope you all realize that. Every stock market in the world today is an auction market. That market closed today. Whatever that stock was worth tonight is exactly what it's worth tonight if you would like to sell it or if you would like to buy it. You can speculate that it'll be worth more tomorrow morning by making the decision to wait till tomorrow morning to do anything about it. One of the few things that we've ever tried to violate in that particular regard is real estate, and particularly residential real estate. I come from rural America. That's where my roots are. And rural America has sold their rural real estate at auction. Maybe it's shocking to you here in California, but that has been really the main way that real estate through the Midwestern part of the United States, I'm talking rural land, has traded for years and years and years. If the farm brought $3,500, and this did happen, in 1979 I sold a farm for a record of $3,600 an acre, and in 1985 I sold the same farm and it brought $1,200 an acre. So it had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that it was an auction. It had absolutely nothing to do with the fact it was an auction, this particular auctioneer. It had to do with the marketplace speaking the truth. Here's what I would like for you to think about. If instead of having a foreclosure process, which is nothing more than a judicial process that accomplishes absolutely nothing, it costs tens of thousands of dollars for a home to go through the foreclosure process. The home becomes empty and vacant, And the minute that it becomes empty and vacant, that home begins to deteriorate in value every 24 hours. Somebody has money invested, where the money is invested in the home, invested in the upkeep of the yard, invested in the insurance. Somebody, that clock ticks every hour. And all of the neighbors that are sitting beside that foreclosed home that is deteriorating in value by the hour, their homes are also deteriorating in value in the hour because that home is a blight upon the neighborhood. So what really needs to happen is that once we establish that this homeowner is not able to continue to buy that home, we need to arrive at what the deficiency is in the value of the home. And the way we need to do that is to have an auction that can handle all of the things that are necessary for judicial foreclosure, and to move that home immediately into the hands of a brand new owner that's going to move into it tomorrow morning, give it the love and the attention that it deserves, become your good neighbor, and let the marketplace tell you exactly what it's worth. And after that happens, then the deficiency will have to be dealt with by the person that is deficient. And I can assure you that the deficiency that will have to be dealt with is tens of thousands of dollars less than what is being paid today in the way foreclosures are being handled throughout America. Now, I would like to tell you that it would be good for you to hire Williams & Williams to handle all those foreclosures. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? But I am here to tell you that there are tens of thousands of auctioneers throughout the United States of America that are very capable, very qualified to do a professional job of selling those homes throughout this land. And if we would turn that job over to those professional auctioneers, to turn that home into its fair market value immediately, something that everybody in this room agrees. There isn't one of you here. You cannot be real estate investors and not agree with the principle of fair market value. And then let the fair market value really dictate its value, move on down the line. Right now, we're in a terrible tragedy. I'll be the first to admit that. We all have to admit it. We can act like we don't want to, but if we do, then we are burying our head in the sand. So the bottom line is very simple. We need to sell these homes, get them in. Now, maybe they're going to be sold to investors that might buy 10 of them. Well, there wouldn't be anything wrong with that, would there? Because that investor is going to start taking care of it. That investor is going to find somebody to live in it. They're probably going to rent it. Somebody's going to become a viable, productive citizen using that home. So the way that we prolong this whole process, whether it's the federal government bailing it out, any way you want the federal government to bail it out, the only thing you're doing is the very thing that we're all gathered here for tonight. The whole process, I heard the gentleman speak when we opened up this meeting, behind the Coleman process is that the ladies of America should be checked for breast cancer before it becomes terminal. And ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly where we are in the real estate industry in today. If you'll let the free market system work, if you'll let the auctioneers of America sell those properties the way they need to be sold for the value that they are really, truly worth, get it behind you and move on down the track, we have set up and that's what they said they wanted to hear, a solution. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my solution. Thank you.